Ready, Freddy.
Oh, dude, he's so ready, Freddy. He's so ready,
Not
Freddy.
gonna lie, this is definitely me when I'm ready.
Me when I'm ready, Freddy. Hell yes. Welcome back to the Lil RES podcast, also known as the Ruby, Emerald, and Sapphire podcast for those Gen 3 Pokemon fans out there. Did you play those, Rich?
I did. Those are actually those and I think Diamond and Pearl were my favorite games.
Yeah. I think I played Emerald the most out of any Pokemon game. Anyways,
Hmm.
dude, I forget the intro every time now. What is it? Hell yes, welcome back. What's the weather? It's 80 degrees? Doesn't look like it. It's 80 degrees outside, mostly sunny. I guess that sounds about right.
Okay.
Um,
Nice.
no hat of the day. I didn't even think about that. No hat of the day. Here's the gnocchi of the day, wherever it is on the screen. How are you doing today, Richard?
I am doing well. Fighting a little fatigue. I think I've just been going, and so now I'm staying.
Hmm.
I've had tremendous luck ever since COVID happened and I stopped like putting my hands on like public transportation and like immediately like licking my fingers after, like, and actually being aware of like where my hands go and touch, like that made me a lot more conscious of that. I've gotten sick a lot less, which is good. But also, if I feel myself getting ill, since I can work from home in general, I will literally cancel so many of my plans and I will just prioritize just staying in bed doing nothing, which
Hmm.
is a give and a take because I wish I had like read a bit more. Instead, I kind of just doom scrolled, but I did relax, and as a result, I haven't gotten worse. When like I felt like I was really on the precipice of like, oh man, I could be sick
Hmm.
soon.
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
I am I'm RES. I'm recovering exceptionally slowly.
Wow,
Yeah,
very
and
nice.
it's we've had some really nice summer days out here, like high 70s, low 80s, middling humidity, and like 50, 60 degrees at night, which has been really nice. I haven't really been appreciating it because I've been inside, but we do have a heat wave coming, so that's going to be interesting. And yeah, I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Uh, yeah, thanks for sharing. I'm doing well. Let's see. Got some work stuff I'm figuring out. Um, an inflection point, perhaps, if you will. We won't get into it because who knows? Maybe someone from Carrot will leak. I don't know. I still don't know how to talk about this kind of stuff because it's like, I don't know. You don't talk about where you work. I probably shouldn't talk too much about where I work. I mean, it's like public information. We have a public facing product that I am attached to. But yeah, work stuff is going. I'm working on a new video. I decided I'm gonna work on it, and I started working on it. It will be. I'm working on it instead of working on StarCraft Part Two because I specifically made sure that this project would take less work than the rest of the work in Part Two. Because I was like, well, if I'm gonna do something else, I should do something that's at least faster. Um, it'll be interesting. I'm documenting on Patreon. So there's a post. When did it go up? Tomorrow? Yesterday? Wednesday? I made a Patreon post earlier this week about some of the stuff I've done so far. I keep working on it. It's the Jasmine Paolini video. Did I talk about that last week? I'm not sure.
I don't think so. I think you mentioned that you were considering a video, and this is
Yeah.
inspired by the Olympics, right?
Kind of. Actually, not really. But I've just been following
Oh.
tennis the last like 2, 3 months, and I have a favorite player. Her name is Jasmine Paolini. She's very popular right now because she is a new underdog in the tennis world, and
Hmm.
the video is just about that in the way that I make those types of stories. Yeah.
And in doing your investigation, just because we're in a shared like chat with our friends, you've been slowly discovering just how annoying a lot of the tennis community can be. Oh
Dude,
my gosh.
yeah. Wait,
They
wait.
all
So
have
Richard, did
sticks
you
up
know
their
about
butt.
this? Have you? Okay.
Yeah.
I
Tennis crowds,
yeah.
tennis communities, like there's like race there's a lot of annoying stuff tied to tennis.
Yeah. You know, there is racism, which is interesting. I think the racism is because it's not crazy bad, but I think it's because of the tennis is so international, right? Like it is a
Mm.
heavily global sport. And something I that really cemented for me during the Olympics is, maybe this is a hot take, but like the US is genuinely, and maybe I'm just being super Western centric here, but I legitimately believe that the US is just like way ahead of the rest of the world when it comes to like social issues and race in particular. Because like we've just been forced
Mm.
to figure it out and deal with it. And the narrative for so long was like, oh, racism, that happens in the United States because they took longer to like deal with slavery. There's always these stories about racism coming out of the US. I think that's just an exposure thing. I mean, the slavery and stuff is obviously bad. But like at this point in history, I always feel like Americans are just able to cogently talk about race in a way that doesn't just constantly sweep things under the rug, which I feel like is the way that a lot of other countries talk about race. Um, and like, I know people get mad that like there's this cultural export of the U.S. of like a more critical way of looking at like social issues and race, and I understand that it's not always going to apply to other parts of the world. But then you see people say stuff that's just like transparently racist in other countries,
Yeah.
and they're like normal people in other countries, and it's like, I don't know. I think you guys just need to catch up. I think you guys just need to catch
Yeah.
up.
It's like I agree. It well, so for one, it's an exposure thing because
Yeah.
USA is like so diverse. I think I don't know. I haven't looked into the
It's
statistics, but
hands down the
I
most diverse
imagine
country in the
we're
world.
yeah,
Yeah,
right?
hands
Okay,
down.
cool. I yeah, that makes sense. But in addition to that, so I guess in that sense we all just have a lot more exposure, or at least many of us do. There's lots of isolated little pockets of the US, and I definitely don't excuse that. But it's like I live in a very international city,
Hmm.
and every international person I've talked to without fail has brought up like when I asked them like how do you like living in America, or like what are some things that were like different than like you thought. There
Yeah.
many of them say, and again, because I live in an international city, it's like probably less bad here, but they say that America is one of the least racist places in the world that they've been to, despite what people say. They
Mm.
say, go to Europe, go to Asia, go to the Middle East. Like in those areas, well, parts of Middle Again, I'm trying not to make too many blanket statements,
Yeah,
and
I know.
I'm
Yeah,
trying to
yeah.
be very
I
sensitive
get what you're
here.
saying.
But
Yeah.
like certain countries in Asia are like ethnically homogenous. And so you get interesting types of racism too, because some of it is like mean spirited, right? But some of it is also just like they just literally don't have
Yeah.
exposure
Lack of
and like
exposure.
dealing with any other culture outside of their own. And so it's really, really interesting. But you have to figure if you're an athlete playing on the world stage, you should probably be a little bit better. Like,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they'll. I think
not
with the
great.
internet and like increasing globalization,
Yeah.
again, this is very like Western centric, but I do think the U.S. like standard of like lens of seeing the world is just going to start becoming the most common way. I don't, dude. I don't like gassing up America in this way because every other country in the world hates it when you talk like this, where you're like, well, America gets it and you don't get it, because like that's like American
Yeah.
arrogance and everything. But I
No, yeah,
just
what is it? Oh, go on.
yeah, I
Sorry.
just genuinely think it's true. I don't think any, and I've also seen people even argue like, oh, America isn't the most diverse country in the world, and they'll point to like, oh, like India has tons of ethnic groups and stuff, and it's like, okay, I get what you're saying, but let's be fucking real, dude. Like, let's be real. Nowhere looks like America. Even like you go Australia or like England or anything, it's not the same. Um,
Yeah.
it's just not the same. And dude, we talked about this one time in the past. The litmus test is the food. I can get the most variety of food in the U.S. Out of any other country I've ever been in the world. The U.S. has the
Yeah.
best variety, the best cultural variety of food. And I think that's all you need as evidence of the sheer cultural diversity. Or
Yeah,
maybe
no,
everyone
for sure.
accepts this, and I'm just fighting straw men.
No, so you touched on two things. One, yeah, that concept of like Western exceptionalism.
Yeah,
I, you and me probably just by nature of growing up, well, we both lived abroad, so it's not the exact same.
yeah,
But like
yeah,
if you grew up in America, you were subject to your core learning was from a Western perspective. You only had Western like textbooks and stuff like that. Like so I don't know. Yeah, it is interesting. So we do have these biases built in with us. And yeah, in America, I lived near an area called what is it? Falls Church. It's called the Eden Center. And that's because in the 19 whenever the Vietnam War was that in the 60s, 70s? I don't
yeah.
70s? Mid
I
60s?
actually don't know the exact
Either way.
time period.
Southern Vietnam fell. It was previously known as Saigon, and it
Yeah.
became Ho Chi Minh City. And America, United States, evacuated a bunch of people from formerly known as Saigon to this little area in Virginia, and now it's just this random pocket that looks exact like it has
Mm-hmm.
restaurants and has like some of the most authentic Vietnamese food you'll like ever see. If you go to New Jersey, there's a city called Edison which has some of the best like Indian food. There are pockets in Ohio that just have like random things. In Seattle, where you and me are like originally from, there's like a large Ethiopian population and
Yeah.
Eritrean population.
Yeah.
So you have these little cultural centers all over for a
Oh
variety of
yeah.
different reasons
It
that you
is
just don't really get in a lot of the world.
yeah. It is actually so interesting how pervasive and common that is. Just the like random group of immigrant communities that exist in like every place. They also in Chicago, like there's a neighborhood nearby called
Oh yeah.
Skokie. Skokie has a ton of Koreans. Like a shocking number of Koreans for a random place in Illinois. um I was talking to somebody from Minnesota. They mentioned the Hmong community. Hmong. It's like spelled HMONG. Did you ever watch Gran Turismo? Gran Torino with
Gran Turismo?
what is it? Clint Eastwood? Um,
I never saw it. I know
you
it's
know what
like
I'm
a
talking about?
famous movie.
Yeah, that I
Yeah,
believe that is it in Minnesota. That's how I learned about like they were like
I have no
I actually
clue.
don't know. I think it's a Asian indigenous like ethnic group or whatever. I don't know. I'm out of my element here, but you know, it's one of these types of communities, and just they happen to have a large population, like a very large population in like Minnesota of all places. Um,
So random.
yeah, it's so interesting, but yeah, America's cool like that, and then you know, there's the part that aren't cool, but. I feel like we gotta stand by the stuff that works. You know what I mean?
Agreed. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is nice that I feel like I always get the like invisible like +5 patriotic boost post Olympics
That's
every time
true. That's
without
true.
fail.
I'm riding a slightly higher level of patriotism than usual.
2026 we'll go to like qualifying events or actual event in LA. It'll be
Dude, yeah.
awesome.
How much do you think that's gonna cost to go to the LA Olympics?
A-
Probably
Okay,
crazy, right?
probably, but I'm also so on board with just going to like some random event. Like I could go to like the least popular one just
Mm,
to say I saw an Olympic game. Like I don't know, I think that'd be
yeah.
cool. I don't need to see basketball or whatever
Oh,
they're
dude,
doing. I
basketball is
don't need
gonna
to
be
catch swimming.
insanely
Insane.
expensive.
Insane.
It's probably gonna be like one
Yeah.
of the most expensive sporting events in like recent history because
Yeah.
it's U.S. I mean, okay, there's no guarantees, but we all know that the U.S. men's basketball team is going to go to the final, and it's in LA, which is a massive basketball center already. With the U.S. Just oh man, those tickets are going to be insane.
Oh, speaking of Western like centrism and stuff like that, I actually was I read an article about this. So USA gold count this year was 40, right?
Yeah.
And I think 8 of the medals that we got, I think 6 came from swimming, and 8 were from events that weren't in the Olympics like 20 years ago. So the Olympics, the
Uh,
the chairman, the person that sets what sports are in the game has always been Western Europe. And then like somewhere in like Western Europe. And then a while ago, it was some American. And under this American commissioner, swimming events went from like 6 to 22 because America has, or we're geographically, our cities fit pools because they're so big and wide and
yeah,
spread
yeah,
out. So we can keep year-round pool training facilities. So a lot of our medals are kind of like, there's this whole dynamic around the politics of the Olympics.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
Peru has like a national sport called like picha or something like that that we'll probably never see play. And to be fair, it's a pretty esoteric sport.
yeah.
But it also makes you think how many sports used to be esoteric, but then were just cemented by the Olympics too.
Don't for
It's just really really
yeah,
interesting.
for a sport to be in the Olympics, I thought the criteria was that it has to already be ubiquitous, though.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
fair.
yeah. I think
I
there's like
don't
a
know.
minimum, like it's like you have to demonstrate that it's played consistently at like X number of countries across the world, or in like X
Right,
number of continents or something like that.
right.
Um,
Because like cricket isn't in the Olympics, right? And that's like a pretty big sport. Like that
is
would
it
be.
not? I guess it's
I'm gonna look it up.
yeah, yeah. You can look it up. I'm actually gonna. I want
But
to
like
look
that's just
it,
an
or you look,
example
you look
of
it.
like that's just kind of like an example. You know, there are definitely sports.
Yeah, is it not? I
Uh,
feel like it should be. We're to look
Cricket
in.
at the Summer Olympics. It was played at the 1900 Summer Olympics with only 2 entrants, Great Britain and France. Oh, nice! It's coming back in 2028 in LA
Oh, let's
with the men's
go.
and women's. It's the 2020 tournaments, so they're shortened.
I
Um,
see.
yeah.
Cricket
Okay. No,
deserves
you
to
know,
be at the Olympics.
it looks like it looks like it misses a couple of years, but it's in consistently.
Okay.
Um, wait. Oh no. It looks like this is the first time it was reintroduced since 1900. It's
Wow.
literally blurred out for every other year. That's crazy.
Well, I'm glad they're getting their just desserts. No, that's not right.
Yeah.
I'm
In
glad they're
March
getting in.
2017, me too. In March 2017, it was reported that the International Cricket Council chief, Dave Richardson, thought the time is right for Olympic cricket, and that opposition to cricket had finally started softening. And in 2023, it won its bid, and now it's going to be in 2028. Only 2 IOC members voted against the inclusion.
Dude,
It doesn't say which one, but could be interesting.
public enemies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm surprised because cricket is like quite widely played.
S-
Um, I mean,
among ex British owned
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's all
countries.
over the place. I see people playing cricket
Yeah,
here in Chicago. Yeah, obviously, like Indian, South Asia, it's like so huge. Dude, in Singapore, you'd see any field, you would see people use for
cricket.
cricket at least once. Um, that's the thing. I don't know the exact like exactly what you need, but it's my impression is that as long as you can find a big field, you can play cricket. Um,
Yeah, sure.
which is not which is like easier than baseball or most
I saw
sports.
that. I saw that John Boy, the guy that does the baseball lip
Yeah,
readings.
yeah.
He had been doing cricket
Yeah.
commentary. And he actually made his way to being an actual like on the ground commentator for a cricket competition, like a
Dude,
televised one. And I'm
that's
just like, I'm
sick.
so happy for him. And that's just the sway. Like, if you come from another sport that's like massively popular, right? And
Yeah,
like you
yeah.
have a big enough following, like a tinier sport or one that has less Western influence, if you become an announcer there, like that's like so much sway. Like, that's so awesome. Like, I love that.
Yeah. I'm glad he was able to do that. It's not I didn't watch I haven't seen like all his cricket videos, but I've seen a handful. He seems to like cricket quite a bit.
Yeah.
Just from the way he talks about the game. It is very interesting. It's like 360-degree baseball.
And you don't get to swap out the ball. Like, if the ball gets
Yeah.
thrown into the stands, then they have a basically a suitcase of balls that are of varying use and quality, and they have to like find one that was about at the same level of usage.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's so, I can't laugh because every single rule has every single sport has
Has
arbitrary
arbitrary
rules,
rules.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
But to me, I'm just like, this is so silly. But they probably think, man, in baseball it's so
Yeah.
ridiculous how they like are always swapping out for new balls every like four like strikes. Like, this
Dude,
is
in
this is
tennis,
lame.
I love the
Oh.
ball kids are like with the balls and they have to
Yeah.
like throw it over. I like seeing how buttoned up the ball kids are depending on the tennis event. Like at the Olympics, honestly, they weren't like you would think for the Olympics, and especially since it's at Roland Garros. I don't know how the French say it, but I'll say it in my accent. Especially at Roland Garros, right? Like that's a Grand Slam venue. It's the Olympics, only happens 4 times a year. The ball kids were a little bit sloppy compared to like other Grand Slam tournaments that I watched. Like at Wimbledon, they are so locked the fuck
Oh, they're
in. Dude,
yeah,
those kids
yeah.
are like everyone's seeing me right now. Also, why are they always kids? I don't know why, but maybe it's just a tradition thing. Like they're
You just
visibly
know that those
underage.
those kids all have like anxious attached style like anxiety. Like, they're all just so fucking on it. They're
They
all
see the
like type
ball.
A, like,
Yeah.
yeah. They're just
That's so funny. Dude, imagine
oh
the
my
the
gosh.
classical conditioning happening to you as a ball kid. Oh, I want to slip in really quick. I have two addendums for the learning renaissance episode from 2 things ago. The first one is um I think I ended my discussion during that episode on learning in a kind of negative frame that I did not intend, where I said, "Oh, I feel like people give up with learning." I think it kind of moralized like learning as like if you're not doing it, it's like a failing. Um I don't feel that way. I think everybody like I think how I look at the world works for me and people who are like me, but it's not going to work for everybody. Um, and so I think like this active concerted effort in learning is very effective for me, but like it might not work with somebody else, and there might be another like way of life that is also fulfilling that works for them. But when I say give up and like when I say give up, what I'm worrying about are the people who like learning would help them a lot, but their circumstances driven them away from it. It just hurts my heart to think that there are people who like might feel lost who if they became learners would discover they have more agency than they thought. And that could be like really positive in their life. So I wasn't trying to like say, "Oh, everyone has to think this way." I think it's a subset. I don't know how many. You want to say something, Rich?
Oh yeah. No, I mean, I completely agree. And I just I I occasionally, that just made me like remember and re-internalize that like people, and you and me both do this to ourselves too. Every single human does this, but we all have been like hurt or like affected in some way in our life where we like it caused us to put up a roadblock that hinders our progress. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
as a kid, if you were bullied and like you just like your parents weren't there to like help like affirm you, like that belief potentially gets like that becomes like part of your self-talk for like the rest of your life,
Yeah,
because you like
yeah.
forget to like re-examine it and stuff. And it makes me sad. Like
Yeah, yeah.
it's exhausting.
Yeah, and
It's exhausting.
yeah, and I think for me personally, like committing to like the identity of a learner was so beneficial to me in like kind of unlearning and rewiring in ways that I incrementally learned uh were keeping me from kind of becoming who I wanted to be as a person. And yeah, those things happened. I can't identify every single little cause, but some of
No
it is just
chance.
from like bad experience. Like I wasn't a great student in school, so like I had a very negative experience with a lot of learning because of that and stuff. So that's the first of them. And the second one is I feel like I talked down a little bit on kind of early psychology and stuff, like on classical conditioning, like Pavlov and whatnot, because I do fundamentally think that at a high level, that's not a great way to look at learning. Like you shouldn't think about learning as something that dogs do for yourself. You should think about learning as very agenic for your individual self. That being said, like classical conditioning, like behavioral psychology works and is real and can be and sometimes should be like supplementary and part of like a learning process. Uh, I didn't want to suggest that that's like bunk science or whatever. I didn't even listen back to episodes, so I might be correcting things that aren't even a problem. It just popped in my head the other day, and I was like, "Oh, I hope people didn't not misinterpret. I hope I is it was because I wrote this is a little tangent in a Patreon post. I think the most recent one. Yeah. The most recent Patreon post, I talked about hiring a graphic designer as something that I could feasibly do in a short time frame because I could quote unquote babysit them. And then I made an annotation that's like, oh, that's like a patronizing thing, but it gets the point across. And then afterwards, it's like, maybe that sounds like I'm like defending it. I'm trying to say like I just couldn't think of a better word for like accompanying along with somebody in the moment I wrote this, and I wasn't like editing this is just kind of off the dome. But like in retrospect, I would have just used a word like guide or coach or something that's like more productive because babysit is
Oversaw.
yeah, but it's such a tiny nitpicky thing for me to be fretting about. But that made me then think about the episode, and I was like, oh, now I'm fretting about those things. I'll clarify it on the next pod. I don't. I
Yeah,
hope that
fair.
people take me generously, but you never know. Um, it's hard,
Yeah, we're not at the stage of podcast popularity yet where people watch along just to like critique us
dude.
because
I
you
would hate
you
if that
you
happened.
see
Yeah,
the there's this eternal September on every single popular podcast where you go to the subreddit and like people will complain about the pod and some people will make it like their mission to share complaints and
yeah,
then there's a post and counter to that that's like why are you listening if all you do is complain?
yeah,
And then
yeah,
it's like, but no, but and it's like,
dude.
I
I
don't
know.
know. Well, we're not there yet. We don't even have our own subreddit, so
No,
I'm not
I
too
don't
I'm
think
not too
we
worried.
will ever have our own subreddit. Maybe,
Hey, never
hopefully.
never say
I mean,
never. Never say never.
I feel like most people grow to regret making subreddits usually. I feel like I've
Mm,
seen more instances of people being like, I don't really like my subreddit than instances of people who are like, this is awesome. And it's not all bad. And, there can be good. Maybe you just check it every once in a while. Whenever I've joined a community subreddit, I'm always like, eh, this is not my speed personally. I can't have a community that's solely based around a personality. That doesn't work for me.
yeah. I will occasionally check subreddits if I want to linger in the dopamine of like a show that just ended, or like
I
if
do that. I do that. Yeah.
it if I like find a song I really like that's like a little bit older, I'll search that song plus the name plus Reddit and I'll just look at the comments of everyone just like
Yeah.
vibing to the song and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I didn't even notice that part of the song."
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
like
yeah.
so I'll do that, but it's only occasional visits. Like I've really been vibing with like you and me, we saw that Justice show together. I've been vibing with like one of their live sets
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I went on to the subreddit to like see what people were saying about their live shows because they have a pretty consistent live show. and I was like, oh yeah, that part was sick. That was awesome. Like
Yeah, yeah.
it's nice. It's nice to enjoy things. I think that's one of the things I've noticed a lot as I've gotten older is things are that if I enjoy something, I always much prefer enjoying them with other people.
Yeah, yeah.
And
It's
it feels better.
yeah, what you're describing is interesting because I totally do it. And it's almost like this uh it's like you want validation, but not on like a point you're making, but on like a good feeling you're having. You're like, yeah, you want to ride the high a little bit longer. One thing I've learned from doing
Yeah.
that is that like you have to know how to read whether or not checking is a good idea. Because have you ever liked something and then you like check the subreddit and everyone's like pissy and you're like, wow, that sucks. Okay. um,
Yeah.
like this is such a funny coincidence because I put it on the agenda. But when I watched Inside by Bo Burnham, I figured people would
Mm,
like it a lot, but I was just like, I'm enjoying this so much. I'm not going to look at anything anyone has to say about it online because I really like where I'm at and how I how I took this piece of media. Um,
yeah.
it's not for opinions. I feel like that about reality TV a lot of the time too. Like I don't really want to know what other people have to say, but then sometimes I'm curious, but it's usually crap.
Well, and you see people get so upset with what's his name? You know the music viewer the Needle Drop,
Oh
Anthony
yeah, Anthony
Fantano.
Fantano, yeah.
People will lose their minds if he doesn't give an album they like less than
Yeah.
like if it's less than an 8 or something like that. It's actually crazy, and it's like people get really attached to the things that they like. Understandably, I do too. Like it's hard
Yeah.
not. I've tried. I've gotten better about separating if someone doesn't like my interest as less of an attack on me. But I feel like it's a very human trap to fall into.
Oh, totally. I think it is. I think it is the crux of the of many of the four horsemen. I think I even have said
Oh
that. It's like
yeah,
for like
yeah.
yum yuckers. Yum yuckers, I feel like again this armchair psychology, but I feel like yum yucking at its root often comes from people feeling invalidated that you don't feel the same way that they do. And so they yum yuck
Yep.
to realign like their personal emotions with what they're seeing. Um what was I gonna say? Needle drop, Fantano. What were you just talking about? I had a thought there. Um
Oh, oh, just like going on in like subreddits and just
oh
finding stuff that other
yeah,
people like,
the
or
separating
that
thing, what you
shit.
were talking about. It reminded me
Oh, sure.
I've been uh I think that I put this on the agenda. Well, it doesn't matter. I remember what the idea was. So for the last like year especially, but just in general last couple years of my life, I've really tried to avoid being a hater. Um because like I used to be I mean, I think in my heart I am a hater. I just think I am. Like I think that's my default. I think it's really easy for me to just kind of be skeptical or to kind of like not like things, which is not a fun
Hmm.
personal trait to have, but
No.
I just think it's
Yeah.
true. It comes with so much ease and I think it's negativity bias and stuff. But I don't
You and me
even
are the same. We're both naturally cynical people. Like,
yeah, yeah. Um, so I tried to stop. There was actually a really big turning point for me. It happened, this would have been like 2018, 2019. I was hating on a post I saw on Reddit. I shared it in the group chat. And one of our mutual friends, he saw me complaining and he said something along the lines of, if this makes you upset and it does so very consistently, why do you like engage with this at all? Like if you
mm,
know you're walking into a situation where you're going to be hating, why
yeah.
are you doing that? Do you like it? And I thought about it and I was like, I don't really like it. I don't
Yeah.
really enjoy this. I get, I'm mad, so I'm in a bad mood. Like it's energizing, but it doesn't feel good. And from that point
Yeah,
on,
right.
yeah, I started like making more effort to not do that. And nowadays I'm in like a never hate in public. No, I should not say that because I hate on this podcast. Even still, I have shit on multiple personalities on this podcast and then like walked it back. But I mean, I was saying how I felt. or at least some version of it. Where am I going with this? I was thinking recently, can I be a hater? It doesn't feel authentic or right to never be a hater, but it's like, how do I separate hating from like being misanthropic and looking down on people in the world? And I think
Mm.
I didn't think through it deeply, but I was like, I think there is a version of not liking things that is totally fine. Not that I ever
Yeah.
thought there wasn't, but I was hesitant to explore it and think about it more because that's not where I was in my stage of hating. But I want to not like things because sometimes I don't like things, but I don't want to
Yeah.
inspire negativity or harassment. I don't want people to look down on your fellow human being. But you can just see something in the world and not like it, and that's okay.
Yeah.
No one likes everything.
You don't need to make any judgments about the person. You can just be like, "Oh,
Yeah,
not for me," and then the conversation can literally end there, and that's okay.
yeah. But then sometimes you really want to hate hard on something. I'll figure it out.
You
I'll figure it
do.
out. We'll get some rants or something.
And you know we're human, and like sometimes it does feel so good to rant. Like
Dude, sometimes it's
I,
all good. Yeah. It's like you don't even feel bad at all afterwards.
yeah, dude, the post rant clarity. Oh man, it's good.
Yeah.
That's
That's so
funny.
funny.
Well, speaking of music, this topic has been on for a while, so I just want to discuss it briefly. The 2016 XXL Freshman Freestyle.
Dude, yeah. Dude, this has been on the agenda for like 2 months. I
So
don't even
long.
remember. I think we were just like nostalgia
We were
baiting
just
kind of.
sharing our love of it. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but like
Oh
that shit
man.
rocks. I think I've seen that like dozens of times in my life, which is incredible. Cuz every time I remember it, I'm like, how did it go again? Or I want to see it again. I watch it and it hits every time. I've
It
never been
every
like,
time.
whatever, not for me. Every time it hits, just they're electric.
So, I feel like we should probably give a
Yeah,
brief
give some
summary because
context.
probably
Yeah.
not everyone in the audience listens to rap, and even if you do, I didn't know what the XXL freestyles were until literally this one in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is it? The XXL is a magazine
Yeah.
and like a media group, right? And every year they gather a group of rappers that they view as up and coming and like that they view
Yeah.
are gonna like help shape and
Quote
influence the future of.
Yeah, quote unquote
Oh, go on.
freshman. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
correct. Yeah, and so the year 2016, you know, they've hit on serious talent in the past before, but
Uh-huh.
2016 was crazy. Like
Mm-hmm.
they got so many rappers before they had massively blown up, and they just they just picked a bunch of really good rappers, and not just good rappers, but rappers that are still around today, like 8 years later, which is honestly in the scheme of
Yeah.
like pop rap is very impressive. And two, they all kind of had like very unique sounds that actually kind of shifted the rap like cultural landscape.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna look up who was on there, and
Yeah.
so they
Yeah.
all get together on a YouTube or in a video that's on YouTube, and they just take turns doing like a cipher where there's a beat going on, and they just take turns rapping and showing like their vibe and their style.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're watching this and you have never seen the 2016 XXL freshman freestyle cypher, whatever they call it, you need to watch it. It has like how many views? It probably has like 300 million views or something on YouTube. It is massively seen because they do it's not everyone in the freshman class in that video. It's specifically what it's Lil Yachty, Lil Uzi Vert, 21 Savage, um Kodak
Kodak
Black,
Black,
and
Anderson Pack.
no, Anderson Paak's not in that one. Is he?
No, he's a 2016. He's just in the second video with Lil Dicky.
Yeah. And
Denzel Curry,
Denzel Curry. Is that all of
designer,
them? Designer was in the other one.
designer.
He was in the Little
Yeah,
Dicky
yeah.
one.
Dave East. I don't know if he went anywhere.
Yeah,
Lil Yachty,
G
Herbo,
Herbo,
Anderson
yeah.
Paak.
But
And
but
what's
specifically
crazy
the big
is,
one is the ones I listed. The first six.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. And that, if you were to go back and look at the comments, a lot of people were kind of trashing on the cipher because at the time, like 21 Savage, his verse, he's just kind of like humming along and just saying a couple words. But it's looked back on as literally one of the best ciphers because they really shifted the landscape. Like their styles became super popular,
Yeah, yeah.
like mumble rap and all this stuff. Like you were starting to see it there. So it went from being like clowned on to being one of the like probably like one of the most memorable mid 2010s rap moments.
I will say the clowning was extremely brief. As
Yes,
someone who
I
used
agree.
to like follow the XXL freshman classes like every year, like there was this initial like, oh, who are these guys? But like
Yeah.
within like a week, people were all for it. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, yeah, it's a turning point, and they just get along together so well, all of them.
It also helped, yeah, like they're ad-libbing for each other and
Yeah,
stuff. Like the vibes are there. It also helps that so many of them quickly like shot to massive
yeah,
popularity,
yeah.
like very quickly after that. Not, I don't think because of that. They were already
It's
gonna
like,
get there on their own right,
yeah,
but
yeah.
it definitely like highlighted a lot of more people that had like talent. Pretty pretty cool, and just it was a fun little moment. I remember watching that and I started to like understand rap more. I was like,
Mm.
"Oh, this is why people really like the genre." I had already been as a kid I liked Eminem and stuff and Linkin Park. But I remember watching that and I was like, "Oh, there's so much more to rap than I ever could have understood."
Mm. That's
I
funny.
was like, this is art. This is good." Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah, I think it's this is a semi-related thought to just close that topic. I'm realizing more and more as I get older that like sometimes when someone raves about something, you can just like trust them and like they'll be right so often. So again, if
Yeah.
you haven't seen this, just watch it. Maybe you won't like it, but most people who have seen it liked it. It's like five
Yeah.
minutes of your time. You really should check it out. Um,
I'm a huge I agree. I'm a huge believer in this. Like if enough people are raving about something, even if it's not for you,
yeah,
try and
yeah,
see the merit in it. Try and understand why it's popular, and it'll help you better understand your fellow humans too.
dude. Yes, yeah. That's what I'm trying to. I've been trying to be on that. Um, for a while now, dude. The mic noises are gonna be insane. This is what I'm working with, guys. Look
That
at
was
this. Look at this rubber band holding up this boom. It's not good.
you
Yeah,
we didn't really mention much that you were deeply reclined before.
I
Now you're
know.
stood up.
I know. I
You're
needed to
all
get up.
you're all gassed up.
Yeah. Again, I'm not gonna clean this audio, so sorry. This probably sounds really bad. Okay. One more creak. Let's get this rubber band more taut. Okay. Well, hope that didn't sound terrifying.
Beavers creating dams that split stuff around. One more creek. Yeah,
Oh, dude,
it
it's
was a
rubbing.
stretch. It was a
I just
stretch.
need to get a new arm one day. One day. Um, I lost my train of thought from the big ordeal. Dude, I don't understand how people on podcasts can be comfortable because you're like in one position. Maybe I need to hold my mic like you because then I'm portable.
Yeah,
Um,
I shift around. I'm still like I lean my elbow on the table. That's like nice. I'll lean back. I don't know. I like it.
yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, I mean it's what they say about posture. It's like your best postural position is your next one. There's no such thing as like a good
yeah,
fixed
yeah.
posture.
Oh
You
my
should
God.
always be moving and always be
Yeah.
dynamic.
Sorry, did you see the mic arm just like
Yeah.
die on me? This thing is not. It's been getting worse and worse over time. We'll see if it can hold here. Um, yeah. No, I agree. You just gotta be moving. You can't stay. You can't stay in one spot. There's maybe a little metaphor in there. I don't know for what, but It's something. Must accept that you gotta flow like water or whatever. Oh man. Um,
Love it.
where are we on time? I know we're asking
We
it
can
up.
we can bring up another like we could get we squeeze one more
Yeah.
topic in.
I'm just a little hungry, to be honest. I don't know, this is a very unprofessional episode today. I just yeah, we'll do one more thing. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. We'll make sure we pick something good. Um Oh yeah, okay, I'll do a quick one. We'll probably do more than just this one. Are you familiar with the artist Someday Nobody?
No, I
Okay.
don't think so. Is this Spotify artist or?
No, like art artist. Um
I'll look it up.
yeah.
Sunday nobody.
Sunday Nobody. So this guy,
Sunday
he's an
nobody.
artist from Seattle. What he makes is I think he calls it meme art, I believe. So
Oh
he's
yeah, he has the little. He has the little. Oh, sorry. I'll let you. Sorry, keep going.
no, finish your thought, Rich.
I've seen one of the ones where he made the little like was it the Mike
The
Wazowski
Mike
memorial in the
Wazowski.
Seattle Library.
Yeah. So this
Oh,
guy,
so
he
cool.
basically does extremely high effort um art pieces that are usually very silly in nature. So like he took he boiled like hundreds of hot dogs, saved the water, froze it into ice blocks, and then like CNC machined a mold of a hot dog, which he then like created an arrangement to turn the ice blocks into ice hot dogs, which he then put in jars and then sold to people shipped. But obviously, the ice hot dogs melt into water. Um, so you just get hot dog water. He did a thing where he like created he just replicated the logo of like 50 different companies and then sold each like embossed piece for $500 each and was like trying to like bait a company into suing him or like triggering some kind of copyright thing because he's just selling their logo. Stuff like that. So I've seen him. He does really silly stuff. His stuff always goes super viral because he puts like, weeks, months of time into these projects that have functionally no meaning but are very interesting. Yeah, what would you
Oh,
say, Rich?
he made a fake ID vending machine
Yeah.
in New York
Um,
City, which is like totally legal too, which was like super funny.
that's so funny. But yeah, so this guy, he does these stunts. And for a long time I wondered, how is he doing this? Because he has like a warehouse, he has a lot of equipment. He's clearly spending like tons and tons of money on materials. The stuff he sells art and it's not cheap, right? Like the logos, that's like $50,000 that he made minus expenses and shipping costs. But the materials used are expensive too. It's not like super profitable. I just wondered how is he able to do this? I was able to find an interview with him, and the answer
Oh,
is,
cool.
um, well, it doesn't really make him a lot of money. He has a lot of credit card debt. A lot of these projects he went into debt to start and do. Um, and it just made me think about how a lot of cool shit we see in the world is just the product of someone kind of sacrificing themselves as a person for the sake of that thing existing.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure there's a world where
Mm.
Sunday Nobody in the near future is breaking even and no longer has debt, but as of that interview, which I think was like a year ago, yeah, he's got thousands of dollars in debt. Um and there are lots, there are many examples of this where somebody is doing something really cool and they're just kind of sacrificing their financial future, their physical bodies, etc., to make it happen so that it exists. I don't feel like
Yeah.
that's talked a lot about. Um, I mean, this is self-serving and I don't want to act like it's altruistic, but I basically paid tens of thousands of dollars to create YouTube videos and put them out into the world, and they did not return nearly that much money. I did not, The first year was not profitable. And sure, okay, I'm paying for my own learning and stuff. That's fine. I can't act like it's altruistic. But definitely felt like there was an element of sacrifice there. The sheer effort I was putting in emotionally, mentally,
Mm,
far exceeded what could have possibly come out of it besides like my own self-actualization, which again I think is worth it. But yeah, just because when I saw like that, I was like, dude, this dude is like fucking up his own financial future so he can do funny, cool things. That's like based, but also like, dang, that's just what it's got to take sometimes.
yeah, it's we live in a society.
No,
Sorry,
it is that
I hate that
though.
quote, but
You're not
I wish it
wrong.
wasn't so memed upon. But no, we like, to clarify, we live in a society that doesn't reward arts at the same level it rewards investment banking and
Yeah, yeah.
software engineering and stuff like that. It's like your best hope, I think, if you want to be an artist sustainably, is it has to be part time, which sucks because that is so detrimental. It's such a different part of your brain to being at a corporate job all day. Like doing a corporate job just to fund your artistry just kind of sucks that you can't just, very few people can make it on being just an artist alone.
Yeah, yeah. I think there's a big luck factor, which is that like how much does your personal self-expression align with like, dude, come on, this boom. Um, I'm just gonna hold it for the rest of the
We
episode.
bring the boom.
We bring the
We
boom.
bring the boom to
That's because my
you.
rubber band slipped. Sorry for the mic noises.
Uh,
Um, yeah, just some people luck out and their self-expression, and this is not, this is fine. But some people, how they like to express themselves, also works really well commercially. And that's awesome
yeah,
when that happens. Yeah.
I, a big critique you see from a lot of people that are really into poetry are people really dislike that book. What is it, like Milk and Honey
Oh
by
yeah.
Rupi Kaur or whatever? The little like super digestible like poems where there's like 20 words and they're just, the way they're spaced is very, don't get me wrong, it's a quick hit, it resonates really, and it clearly resonates with a lot of people.
Yeah.
I found a lot of emotional expression in a lot of her poems. Were they like the deepest thing after like more
Yeah.
than a couple seconds of inspection? Not necessarily, especially compared to some other stuff out there. But long form content just like also isn't rewarded. And her style just so happened to be like really nice. I mean, you see this with musicians all the time. Like artists like Caro Bonito, which we really like, have a ceiling. Like they'll only ever be so popular, even on their
Mm,
more poppy song. Like
yeah.
Flamengo was their most popular song, and that's like their most like, probably one of their more simplistic ones. Like I'm
Yeah,
sure they
yeah.
had a blast making Flamengo, but like they don't. It's clear from their albums that
It's
they
not the
don't want
direction they're
more.
going.
They don't
Yeah.
want more flamencos in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
It's
it's
yeah,
it's
go
a
on, go
tough
on.
balance.
Yeah,
No, that's all.
it was that was so interesting. Richard and I went through oh, here comes Gnocchi to crash. Well, I guess we'll just end the episode soon. Um she's you can't see, oh there, now she's on the camera. She's gonna try and walk on the laptop. Oh, here she comes. Gnocchi. You're not gonna, yeah, you can't. Doesn't work. Nice try. Um we looked through a bunch of indie artists that we like a lot on their Spotify, and it was so interesting how consistent there was this like hard ceiling on indie media. Like you look at like Death Cab for Cutie or like Postal Service, kind of same vein, but like or like Caro Bonito or like 100 Gex, these kind of like more cult following, cult classic styles artists. They'll have a couple songs, like one, two, maybe three, that are like 100 million, maybe a little like hundreds, maybe even low hundreds of millions of listens, and then this drop off into like the tens of millions, and that's kind of like where they peak. And it's so weird, like especially for like
Yeah.
a band like Death Cat, right? Growing up in like Seattle, you're like, oh, that's got to be like one of the biggest things in the world, and then it's just not. And you're like, I guess this feeling just doesn't resonate widely enough, and that's fine. It's interesting when artists have the inverse, where like Mitski, Mitski was like this, smaller, not tiny, but smaller indie artist, kind of this more indie royalty style artist for such a long time. And then oops, turns out Mitski fucking like stabs a dagger into the hearts of teenagers, and they fucking like breathe off of that shit.
Yeah.
Like
To be
yeah.
fair, a lot of her songs did go like "Washing Machine Heart" is on much more like that's one of her biggest songs, right? That's very much on the super poppy end of her
It
songs.
is
She
more
has,
poppy, yeah.
but I guess she also in general is kind of poppy.
Yeah.
So I
But
don't
I
know.
mean like when I was listening to Mitski in like 2016, like like that's was not popping off quite yet. I don't know what the point I'm trying. I'm just sounding like a hipster here. I'm just saying that like you never know what's gonna resonate, but like clearly there are these
Yeah.
buckets. Um, yeah, cool. Well, I'm holding this mic and I don't want to do this for much longer. So let's just wrap. But thank you
All right.
for
Goodbye
joining
now.
us. Goodbye now. But yeah, thanks for joining us for this scuffed episode of the Lil RES podcast. I'm sure it'll look fine. Um, Anything else? Anything else? Nothing else. Goodbye now.
Nope. Goodbye now.
Goodbye now. Bye.